The Thunderbolt saw its greatest glory fighting in Europe during the Second World War. The plane is credited as a major force that helped break the back of the Luftwaffe. The P-47 also played a significant role in the Pacific, where it was for close air support and tactical airstrikes in the Allies' island-hopping campaign against the Japanese Army. As the aircraft was modified, it played the key role of escorting the mighty B-29s on raids against Japan. To reach the Pacific, P-47s were loaded onto aircraft carriers, where the Thunderbolt's ability to take off from the carrier flight deck was tested. Successful carrier takeoffs such as these demonstrated the plane's far-reaching capabilities, which ultimately contributed to victory in the Pacific. Nevertheless, some military planners and pilots remained skeptical. They argued that the plane was too large and too heavy, lacking the range and low-level maneuverability needed to thrive in either the jungle or open ocean environments against the swift and light Japanese aircraft. But commanders of the 5th Air Force were anxious to get their hands on whatever aircraft was available. And in June 1943, the first Thunderbolts arrived in the Pacific with the 348th Fighter Group.
P-47 and other theaters did quite well. It had to be modified somewhat for use in the Pacific theater. Later they built the P-47N, which had a strengthened wing and a longer wing and longer range.
Although the P-47 had to be modified to serve in the Pacific, it proved itself in other arenas of conflict. In the autumn of 1943, Lieutenant Colonel Neil Kirby of the 348th led a group of Thunderbolts into combat with great success.
The P-47 made two important contributions to the war in the Pacific. The first one was in the campaign in New Guinea, where the P-47s flown by Neil Kirby had tremendous success. The 348th Fighter Group had tremendous success against the Japanese aircraft. And what they did is they used the strengths of the P-47, the fast dive, the high speed, to make passes on Japanese aircraft. They would dive down on them, make one pass, and zoom away. And again, the firepower of the P-47 just blew apart these Japanese aircraft. They were so lightly built. The rule was not to dogfight. To dogfight was to die. The Japanese aircraft were much more maneuverable, but they couldn't go nearly as fast, and they couldn't dive as quickly as the P-47s could.
By the end of the day, Lieutenant Colonel Kirby had been credited with 6 confirmed kills and 1 probable, an Army Air Force record for the most victories in a single sortie. Kirby was later awarded the Medal of Honor, which was presented to him by General Douglas MacArthur in January 1944. Through the leadership of Kirby and others, there soon was no longer any doubt that the Thunderbolt was well suited to combat in the skies over the Pacific. By the spring of 1944, Thunderbolts were operating from a series of newly constructed airfields on islands throughout the Pacific. Additional units received P-47s as the war progressed. Pilots soon recognized the potential to use the plane's diving speed to their advantage, and the Thunderbolts soon earned respect throughout the Pacific. As the Allied forces moved closer to the Japanese islands, more and more P-47s made their way to the Pacific. Pilots and support personnel adjusted to the harsh tropical climates and tried to find ways to relax. P-47 pilots soon developed a routine as the nature of their sorties became evident. Their missions were either flying low-altitude ground support or medium-altitude bomber escort. For the low-altitude missions, many P-47s were equipped with 500-pound bombs or 60-pound rocket projectiles. On escort missions, auxiliary fuel tanks were added to the P-47s to extend their range. In the last year of the war, the P-47N served with distinction in the Pacific. Its primary duty was to escort B-29 Superfortress bomber raids from Saipan to Japan. With a greater fuel capacity, the new Thunderbolt was well suited for these long flights over water. By the end of 1944, 31 Allied fighter groups were flying P-47s. Republic produced just under 2,000 P-47Ns, capable of escorting B-29s from Saipan to Japan. But just as these planes were thriving in their new role, the war in the Pacific came to an end on September 2, 1945.